Hello and welcome to the Clock and Talk, an Arsenal podcast, and we're covering, for fuck's sake.
Good job me and Schwinn are a lot more prepared than you, because if we came on and went, we didn't watch the game either, we was on the piss, it'd be a pretty shit podcast.
Well, Mesut Ozil is the best number 10 in the Premier League.
Yeah, that all looks good on paper, but there's never been a football match played on paper, so it's not really worth much.
I'm going to make a bold prediction that Jack Wilshere will sign for West Ham United.
It's time to start watching football with your eyes. I think people listen to what the commentator's saying and have that as their own opinion, but if you watch what's going on, you'll see things a lot clearer.
Schwinn, who do you think is going to win the Golden Boot?
I think Alexis Sanchez might do a number on that this year.
Okay. Tony talks about a clock being right twice a day. Tez is right every day. Right from 5, lads. Fucking beauty. Hello and welcome to an Arsenal podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. You can follow us at clockand_talk on Twitter, or on Facebook, YouTube, or good podcast apps, and everywhere else you can listen to us. I haven't been back here. We've had a couple of probably 10 days off. Valencia game was our last podcast. Then there was, no, we didn't. There was Valencia and then there was Burnley, and we top of missed both of them too. So we're in all sorts because Schwinn was going to do one, but then he got busy. So anyway, shit happens. Life gets in the way. But I've got Tony with me again this week, and we'll try and pump something out, Tony, huh?
Yeah, so obviously missed only my second ever, which we done after, I don't remember who we played, Brighton, because I was flying to Spain, so obviously I couldn't do a podcast on the plane. Then we missed after Valencia and Burnley, and here we are. Heard you lot cutting me off the whole podcast because I actually listened, which is pretty unusual.
You listen, did you?
Yeah, I listened on the plane because I had nothing else to do. I ran out of lives on Candy Crush, so I had to listen to you wankers.
I wasn't sure whether you'd listen or not, because you said you were going to listen, then I didn't hear back from him, and I'm thinking, no, he didn't hear it. Okay, look, where do we go? Look, we'll touch very quickly. So, we obviously beat Valencia. That's old news. We're heading to Europa League final. Obviously against Chelsea. Tony, thoughts there, mate? You're heading to Baku as well?
Yeah, flights all booked, visas all done, hotels done. We're on our way. It's funny because I thought we played very well in Valencia. It was a bit of a gunfight, and we sort of went with the we're going to score more than you, and it worked. I think our attacking players all played well on the day. But obviously Chelsea went to extra time, so we came out of the ground and there was somewhere close that was showing the Chelsea game. So I watched it, wasn't really focusing properly because I was celebrating and had a drink or 10. But then I watched the penalties properly. And I was sitting there thinking, I actually don't know who I wanted to win. Literally, you're sitting there and it's usually you can get behind the team, especially penalties, there's excitement and tension. But I was sitting there, I was like, I really didn't care because I think both of them have their strengths and had their weaknesses. So, we got Chelsea. I don't know if I'm happy or sad about it. I'm still not sure what the best result would have been. Usually they say if you're not sure, you can tell when it actually happens, if you're upset or happy. But I wasn't either, and I'm still not either. So I don't really know if I would have preferred them or Frankfurt, but it is what it is. We've got them now, and hopefully we can do a job.
Yeah, I was the same. When I was watching the game and I went extra time, then penalties, and I was made exactly like you. Who the fuck do I want? And I'm thinking, for me at the end, I went, nah, come on. I think I want Chelsea to win this because I'm thinking that I know it's only Emery's first season, but he probably knows a little bit about Chelsea more so than anything about Frankfurt. And then our players, I think to myself, they probably know a bit more about Chelsea than the Frankfurt team that everybody seems to underrate. So, look, it is what it is, and obviously, as you said, it is Chelsea. So, happy days, and let's hopefully take a trophy from it. So,
yeah, I mean that kind of played into my thinking. Look, I think Chelsea are better before we get people writing in or asking questions. But as you said, we know them. And I think with Frankfurt with Jovic and Rebic, they will score goals, and obviously we know we're very leaky at the back, and it could have been one of them days where you have a bad day, Jovic gets a couple, and you've lost the game. So my main concern with Chelsea is if Hazard has a 10 out of 10, which we obviously well know he's capable of, and it will be his last game for them, we imagine, so it could be his little parting gift. I don't think there's many teams that beat Chelsea when Hazard has a 10 out of 10. And I think that's probably the biggest fear for me with them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, now next game, obviously, then when we come back in Burnley, look, it was I missed the whole game because I was away, but Aubameyang, he got a hat-trick, was it?
No, got two.
Got two, was it? So, levelled for the Golden Boot.
Yeah, we actually played quite well. It was strange because, to be honest, I really didn't want to go, but for the last 2 years, I've done 37 Premier League games out of the 38. And 1 year I had to work. I had to do a day's work when we had the game. I had a ticket to. I had to sell it. And another year I couldn't get a ticket to one game. So this year I'd done the 37. We're going to Burnley away. I've got the tickets in my hand, and I thought, I really can't be bothered. But I can't do another 37. I've got to do the whole lot. So I went, as I'm driving up there, I saw the lineup, and I was a bit like, oh, for fuck's sake, why did I bother? But it was actually, one, we played really well, and two, it was an enjoyable day. The away end was sort of in good spirits. It wasn't all doom and gloom like we expected. It was warm, which for some reason always helps. I know you guys are always, like in Australia, it's always warm, so that probably doesn't play a factor to you, but
yeah,
it's much better.
When it's sunny for you, mate, it's fucking, it's like a pot of gold.
Yeah, so especially when I just got back from Valencia, which was just stupid hot, like unbearable hot. So yeah, but Burnley was really good. We played well, but it was more, I don't really know how to describe it. It wasn't like a proper football game. It was like a fun game, sort of like you have a go, we'll have a go, everyone will be entertained. It wasn't cagey. It was a typical end of season game.
Where it was just like, to play for either, did they?
Yeah, but it wasn't like they thought we've got nothing to play for, so we're just not going to try. It was sort of like, oh, we've got nothing to play for, so we're just going to have fun with it, and we're going to just go and play rather than thinking about keeping it tight at the back and doing this. And we were very similar. It was just everyone was out to score, and there was about 20 minutes at the end where the pitch was so open and it was just end to end, and both teams had chances. And it was just a really entertaining game. Again, nothing on the line, but a really fun game to watch.
I flicked through Twitter just to have a look, what the feedback was, what was happening after the Burnley game, just quickly, and I read a few comments that, and you can correct me here, Aubameyang missed the chance that would have got him the Golden Boot outright.
Yeah, I mean he missed two. There was one at 0-0 where he hit the post and it come off his shoulder. I think he went. It was a very fast cross, zipped in, and he went to header and it hit his shoulder and cannoned off the post. And then there was another one that he missed from about 2 yards out. I think it was Mkhitaryan. I might be wrong. Like smashed the ball across the 6-yard box. Aubameyang's lunged in, and it's one of them. The ball hits you and goes in, or hits you and misses, and 9 times out of 10 it hits you and goes in. It's not a controlled finish, but on that occasion it's hit him and gone wide. Unfortunately for him. To be fair to him, he's both his goals were very well taken. And then obviously Eddie got his first Premier League goal. Again, very well taken. It was funny, for the last 10 minutes, I don't know if Arsenal players had heard that Aubameyang was level for the Golden Boot at the time, but it was like they were trying to give him the ball at all times. There was no interest in doing anything else. And then when Eddie scored, look, he's done the right thing. He scored, but I think the whole ground was just looking to see where Aubameyang was in the middle. And the pass may have been on, but you can't blame Eddie for. He's a young lad, and he's got a Premier League goal to his name now.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Okay, so that gets us. Not obviously, it's been one of them seasons where we've been up and down. We thought, fourth place would be realistic. We probably think back at. For me, it was a Crystal Palace game that I think that was probably the big turning point that. That could have probably secured us the 4. What was your thoughts on the season overall, like the ups and downs, and what was the game for you that probably cost us that top 4? And I don't want to be negative on the season, but, you know, just when you're so close to that fourth and, you know, there's the avenue for Champions League and now we're waiting. So just what was your thoughts on the season?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I said straight after the Palace game that if we don't get it, that would be the reason why. But then, obviously, I wasn't on the Brighton podcast, but we fucked up there as well. Win there would have got it. So, look, I said very early on everyone would drop points, and I think there was still 7 games to play when I said 12 points would do it. I could see everyone dropping points. I didn't expect them to drop as many as they did. And you can look at a few games where we should have got a point and we didn't, or as I said, Palace and Brighton, where a result would have completely changed everything. In terms of looking at the season as a whole, and obviously we still have one major game to play, I've been pretty much of the same mindset for a long time. We done better in points than I expected us to do. We came maybe not higher up the table, but closer to the other teams than I expected us to do. I'd say probably mainly more to the other teams not being great as well. My worry is still what it has been for a long, long time, in that I don't know how we improve because I don't know how we play. I know I'm not going to ruin it, but I know there's some questions coming in saying, is he going to buy this person in the summer and go with this formation or that formation, or are we going to play this way, or what's our style going to be? And for me, that being a year into his reign now and not knowing the answers to that question, for me is worrying. And I can see some people take pleasure from it, saying, if we don't know, how are other people going to know? But I think it looks like a lot of the time that the players don't know.
It's going to be it's going to be a tough one. I got no answer. I'm like you. We've said it all season. We just don't know what he plays. We know he likes to play, down that left hand wing and whatnot with Kolasinac and cross him in. But that's about as far as it type of goes. So we miss out on top 4. For you, who was your best for Arsenal?
What season?
Yeah.
Obviously, we said weeks ago Laka was going to get it, like the vote, and that was obvious. But for me, I think if you've got someone that wins the Golden Boot, or is at least joint with a Golden Boot, in a team that comes 5th, I can't look beyond that player. And again, we know we're going to get loads of comments saying, you never liked Lacazette, blah, blah, blah. Lacazette had a very good season, but I can't remember an Arsenal player ever getting the Golden Boot and not even being mentioned for player of the season. It's like it's been a one-horse race with Lacazette, and for me, that's wrong. I would have give it to Aubameyang. And I know he misses chances, and I know there's been games where he's been terrible. But if you see, his job is to put the ball in the goal, and he's done that as much as anyone else in the country. So, yes, he's missed chances, but he's also done his job to a very high level. Yeah,
look, I agree. Aubameyang would have got it for me as well. But I just want to touch on the Golden Boot for a minute. Now, was it 22 goals?
Yeah.
22 goals. Is that... look, and I haven't looked back in the stats and the history and whatnot. Can you think of many seasons where three players have got a joint Golden Boot around the 22 goals? And if not, why do you think that is? Do you think the defence is we're not scoring as many in the Premier League?
No, I don't think it's that. It is low. I'm not sure if 3 people ever split, and as you said, 22 is very low. But I think it is there's probably more people. Like if you think there was 3 on 22, Aguero on 21, I think Sterling was on 20. Like there's loads of players sort of between 18 and 22, and I think that's the reason it's so low, that goals have been spread out more. And I mean, even if you look at them, who's there? Okay, you've got Aubameyang, who you would say is a central striker, and Aguero, but then you've got Salah and Mane, who are both not really out-and-out strikers. I said Sterling's in and around there, who's not an out-and-out striker. I just think the goals are being spread around a lot more. And I actually think it's harder for a number 9 now, because I think they get more attention from the defenders, which makes it slightly easier for the wing players to score more. And that's why, as I said, you've got the likes of Bernardo had an unbelievable year. I know he didn't get as many goals as the others. Sterling, Hazard, all got a lot of goals. And I think that's because
Kane got 17 and he was injured for
a
lot.
That's what I'm saying. Between sort of 17 and 18 and 22, I feel like, without looking at the stats, that there was loads. Whereas, say last season, I think Salah got it with I can't remember what it was, 31 or 32, and I think Kane had sort of high 20s, and no one else was really in the race. So I think, look, I don't know, maybe there was less goals this season, but I don't feel like there was. I just feel like they're better spread out.
Yep, okay. Now, we did our predictions, as I touched on. Obviously, league winner, we all had Manchester City. Trying to read Schwinn's writings. Fucking
need to get it up.
woeful. If you can.
He's got doctors writing. One sec. This makes a great... Right. So, league winner, we all went for Man City. The FA Cup, which is starting in an hour and a half, but we're all wrong. So I went Liverpool, Schwinn went Chelsea, and you went for us.
Yep.
The top four in order this is what we went for. So I went for Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, 1, 2, 3, which is correct. And then I went for Arsenal fourth. I always have to put Arsenal in there just because, even if we were shit, I'd say Arsenal. Just because, obviously, what's the point? If you're not going to back them, don't bother supporting them. So I'm basically giving myself 4 out of 4 there. Schwinn went for City, United, Liverpool, Chelsea. So
Hang on, Schwinn went for who? Liverpool?
City winners, United, Liverpool, and Chelsea. So he's got 3 of the 4 right, just in the wrong order.
Okay.
And then you've gone City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea. So again, you've got 3 of the 4, just in the wrong order.
Okay.
In terms of Arsenal position, I had 4th, Schwinn had 5th, you had 3rd, so Schwinn's got that one. Golden Boot, I went Aguero, so I'm off by 1. Schwinn went Sanchez, so he's off by 20.
That fucking clacks me up every time.
Yeah, so he's got close there.
Yeah.
And you went for Aubameyang, so you've got it right. In terms of Player of the Year, we all went Kevin De Bruyne. So obviously all wrong, and he's been out for a lot of the season. So yeah, nowhere near there. Arsenal Player of the Year, me and you went for Aubameyang, and Schwinn went for Ozil. I mean, there's no real surprise there. First sacking of the season, I went for Jokanovic, and I think he was. I'm not sure. I know he was very early.
No. Shit. Who was Leicester?
No, Leicester was after. Puel was after, surely.
Who was after? Yeah, fuck. Yeah.
Puel was only like March. I feel like I've got that right, so I'm going to give myself credit.
But didn't they go through two managers this season?
Who?
Leicester.
No.
You sure?
Well, 2. They had Puel, and now they've got Rodgers.
Didn't they have one before? No.
No. So anyway, I'm saying I'm right, whether I was or not.
Right. Only because I can't. Well, none of us can fucking remember.
I feel like I feel like I'm right. But just to point out, do you remember at the start of the season when everyone was saying how great Fulham were going to be, and look at their signings, they may even do better than Arsenal, they've signed better, and here's me saying that their manager would get sacked first, and well, there you go. Schwinn said Javi Gracia, who Watford have just given a 5-year contract to, so yeah, probably not going to be him. And you went for Mourinho, who was in and around December. I actually, because obviously you'll know, all last season I was saying I'd be surprised if Mourinho made it till Christmas. I just went for and he didn't. But I just went for Jokanovic because I felt someone would go before that.
But that's we're pretty on to it. Like, at least we picked, me and you got a manager that both got sacked, I suppose. Unlike fucking Schwinn.
Schwinn got a team in the FA Cup final. So then we done relegation, and mine was Huddersfield, Cardiff, and Watford. So I severely fucked up there. 2 of the 3. Your Schwinn's was Newcastle, Watford, and Cardiff. So he got 1 of the 3. How do you think Huddersfield was going to stay up? What's he playing at? And you went Cardiff, Watford, and Huddersfield. So you went the same as me. And finally, we done flop.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah. So again, I remember actually doing this. I said Jorginho just because I hate his type of player, and everyone was all going on about, oh, look at his pass and move, blah blah blah. And I don't know if he's the biggest flop of the season, but he's not universally liked. So I'm taking credit for that one.
Yeah, I think you have to. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Schwinn went for Fred, and okay.
Yeah, I'd nearly give
He's
you
not.
Fred.
He cost what, £60 million, and he's started probably 10 games. So I think that's fair enough.
Yep.
Your one. Do you want to reveal who you said?
I think I was dirty at the time because he went from Rome to Liverpool. I said Alisson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we can give you that one.
No, you can't give me that one. He had a pretty good season, didn't he?
But yeah, I mean, look, I think he was very well protected. I think he won the Golden Glove, but it wasn't like he kept them in loads of games, but there was barely any mistakes, and you couldn't really criticise him too much. So he definitely isn't a flop. I'm not sure if his awards. It's not like when De Gea won the awards and he was saving United.
I can't take credit to him, mate. No way. It was more I was dirty at the time. I thought, you cunt. You went from Rome to fucking Liverpool, you fucking nerd. I think it was more I wished he flopped. Look, all in all, their predictions weren't too bad.
No, we've done all right this year. I think last year we was horrendous.
Sanchez. I get reminded every time on the intro on that. Okay, so I just want to talk. Obviously, we're going to talk about a couple other teams because other players and stuff. Just quickly looking back at the season, and there is talk. Obviously, this will segue into the next bit that we're going to talk about Zaha as well. There is talk, that he had a very, very good season with Crystal Palace, and his price tag has gone through the roof. And Fraser's obviously there for Leicester as well. Who's that? Not counting, you don't have to mention them too, but who's a player for you that you thought, oh shit, I wouldn't mind him at Arsenal on basis of the season just gone?
There's a long list. I'm just going to talk about the two you've mentioned because they've probably been the two we've had strongest links to. And obviously I've seen a lot of them just being Premier League players. I really like Zaha. Two worries I have. One is the price tag. But by all accounts, he's going to force his way out. So hopefully that should come down. But I think he's still going to cost you in the region of 50, 60 million, which would be our record transfer. That's one concern. The other is the reason I like him is because he runs at players and takes them on. We don't have anyone that actually beats players in our squad. And that's what I like. The issue I have, and it's something I don't mind, is that at Palace, they give him the ball and he runs at his players. And if he loses the ball 5 times, if he gets tackled 5 times, they still give him the ball the 6th time and he might go on to beat them. And if he gets a goal or assist, and then that's all you talk about. On the highlights, you don't see the 5 times he's lost the ball already. I don't know if people will put up with that at Arsenal. I've always been of the view that a winger should just attack their player every time. And as I said, if they lose the ball, they lose the ball. But eventually, if they do it enough times, they're going to get in behind and create a chance or create a goal. I just don't know if Arsenal fans will put up with that. And also if pundits will highlight it more. So then people will start going, oh, fuck's sake, he always loses the ball. When in reality, it probably wouldn't be any more than he already loses the ball. It's just not highlighted. So that's my worry with him. With Fraser, it's pretty much the exact opposite. He gets loads of crosses in the box. He gets loads of assists, and he's very, very fast. But he never really beats his man. And although I think he's an improvement on what we've got, and I wouldn't mind having him, I want someone that can beat a man, and that's not Fraser. As I said, he's got a lot of other strengths, and I wouldn't be disappointed if we signed him, but I would prefer someone that if you get them one-on-one with their fullback, you're confident they're going to have a go and beat them.
Mm-hmm. Are they the two players that you thought that, they were the standouts in the Premier League that Arsenal, we can't think top players, like, do you know what I mean? From about 6 down, is there nobody else there?
I mean, it depends if you start looking at money and stuff, because there's 3, 4, or 5 players at Leicester that I would take. For me, Chilwell's the best left back in the league from any club. Robertson's obviously got an argument, but I think if you put Chilwell in a team, Robertson had a better year. I'm not doubting that. I think if you put Chilwell in a top team, if you put Chilwell at City, he would outdo what Robertson's doing at Liverpool. I think Maguire's slightly overrated, but I would still take him. I would happily have him at Arsenal. Tielemans obviously done great things, even though he was only there for 4 months. So I don't know if like Fraser and Zaha are the best players outside of the top 6. Maddison, sorry, I didn't mention. I think
was just about to ask about James Maddison.
Yeah, I mean, I think Maddison's unbelievable. And the one Schwinn always goes on about, David Brooks, had a very good year for his first year. So there's a lot of players there. If they're available players, that's a completely different argument and what price they're available for. But I'd say there's a lot of players that I don't know if I'd say they're better or worse, but there's a lot of players in that same bracket. I'd put Zaha, Maddison, all of the players I've just mentioned, I'd put them in the same section where they're very, very good players from the teams below the top 6 and they could easily play in a top 6 team.
Okay. Relegation, any players there you can think that drops down the championships you think you want?
No, I mean, we've had this as a question a few times, and not for me. I think, I'm not saying for us, but I think maybe the Cardiff keeper, if he's happy to be a sub somewhere, could go and sit on the bench at a half-decent Premier League team. He's a good keeper. He could maybe even start for a slightly worse team, to be honest. Or he could go and be a sub at not a top club, but even a top club. Yeah, he could be our number 2, better than Martinez. But no, I mean, I can't see us looking at any of the players that have gone down. Okay.
Now, me and you have often talked about Jack Grealish for Villa.
Yep.
Both of us are big fans of Jack, and you know, I'm just thinking if they don't make it to the Premier League, they're obviously, you know, looking at the playoff. Derby, isn't it? Derby they're up against, aren't they?
Yeah, Derby in the final.
Derby in the final. So if Villa doesn't get in, is how much does he cost for Arsenal, and does he fit into this Arsenal team?
I really like Jack Grealish, but we were talking about this the other day. I think more likely is Maddison goes to a top club, e.g. United, is probably the safest bet, and Grealish replaces him, or an Everton, or someone like that. I think it's very rare you get that step taken straight from sort of top of the Championship to top of the Premier League. To be honest, I think Villa will come up and he'll stay there. I think they'll beat Derby.
Okay.
But I think either way he'll be in the Premier League next year. I don't see it at a top 6 club. It wouldn't surprise me if he is, because he's a very good player, but I think it's more likely that they do what has happened with Maddison, and he has sort of a audition year at a sort of between 7th and 12th club.
Yep. And then take the next step, mate. You know, if he's
but then obviously they hope he has a big season, whoever signs him, and then his price probably doubles, and you go from there. Because if he comes to, as I said, let's just say Everton. If he goes to Everton and has a decent season, or a good season, he becomes an England international. He's price tag. Look, Maddison's price tag's definitely doubled since he's been at Leicester, and he's now an England international. And I could see the exact same thing happening to Grealish.
Okay. We're going to talk about. Look, I don't want to go too much on ratings and stuff, but flop of the seasons, probably, you know, if that's the word you want to use. Flop in the Premier League and flop for Arsenal for this season.
Well, obviously, we've just spoken about what we said at the start of the season in our predictions. And I went for Jorginho then, not because I thought he was going to be the worst player in the league, but because I don't particularly rate his style. And you've got to look at what was paid for them as well. And I'm not saying he was a flop completely, but he's definitely not been, like, ask any Chelsea fan, he's not been the £55 million player that they thought they were getting. That's not saying he was the worst player in the league. I think if you're going for complete flop, especially on terms of value for money, you've got to go Alexis Sanchez. I know he signed in the January before, but everyone was like, he's had a pre-season, It's his first full year. He's under Mourinho, who's a tactical god, blah, blah, blah. And they get 2 Premier League goals. He sat on the beach for half the season collecting reportedly £500,000 a week. You can't get much worse that I can think of in terms of value for money than that.
Yeah, I agree. Has to be Sanchez for me. He's fucking Schwinn, golden boot. What about for Arsenal? I probably think I know who you're going to say, but everybody thinks.
Well, no, I mean, I assume you're thinking I'm going to say Mustafi, but I'm not. I'm going to say Lichtsteiner.
I was just thinking Mustafi, you might say.
No, I'm going to go Lichtsteiner just because. Actually, I don't know. It's probably a bit unfair on Lichtsteiner because he wasn't good at all. But I don't know really what we expected of him. He's played more than what we thought he would.
Do you think Arsenal fans' expectations for him were just too high? The bar was set too high.
Yeah, definitely. And it didn't help that. And I'm not calling out Arsenal fans. Well, I kind of am, but I'm not doing it from a malicious place. It didn't help that because of their dispute with Bellerin, I think Lichtsteiner had won his first pre-season game. He played like 20 minutes and done nothing right or wrong. And there was all the campaign from them that right now he is better than Hector Bellerin. And look, we get a lot of fans of Arsenal that watch them and take their opinion as their own, the same as you do with Sky Sports and the same as you do with anyone else. I believe that their opinion on that time was formed on an agenda. But then it comes down to watching football with your eyes. People listen to them rather than looking at what was going on. And then it became a lot of people's opinions that Lichtsteiner was fighting for our number 1 right back and he would be better than Bellerin. But so, yeah, I think that probably didn't help setting the bar way too high.
Yeah. So who was your flight? You going to Mustafi?
No, Lichtsteiner.
You're still going Lichtsteiner? Yeah. I don't know. I never had my bar set higher for Lichtsteiner, I think.
No, yeah, you from the get-go, you said that he was going to be shit.
So, I don't want to say Ozil. Because
I know you want to say it. I know, as soon as you ask the question, I know who you want to say.
Well, what do we expect of him, though? I just, like... He's had glimpses of a good season, but has he been that player who's, when the thing is,
this is another one like where you said have we set the bar too high with Lichtsteiner? I kind of think the same with Ozil. Like if he comes out of a game and hasn't got not even created chances because people seem to not care about that anymore. If he comes out of a game and hasn't got a couple of assists, it doesn't seem to matter what he's done. People are saying he was shit. And I think in the same way, obviously not the same bar, but I think people have set the bar way too high for Ozil. It's like, if he doesn't get an assist, he hasn't had a good game. I think the last few weeks, I'm not going to say very good, he's not been 10 out of 10, but the last few weeks he didn't get any assists, but he's been good in every game. And it's still like, I can't remember what game it was, but his numbers for, and I don't really give a fuck about numbers, but his numbers for everything were good, like chances created, blah, blah, blah. But people still just come out of the game of, Ozil again, didn't get an assist, didn't score. What's he there for? So I think the bar with him is also set way too high.
Set a bit too high. Yeah.
And I kind of understand the argument that the bar has to be set somewhere if you're paying someone 350 grand a week. I get that argument. But as I've said on here before, your wages don't define how good you are as a player. As I said, Ramsey's not going to become 4 times the player he was this season, next season, because he's getting 4 times the wages. It's not how life works.
Yeah, well, he's got a good manager. He, negotiated a good contract. So, it's so hard to pick because, I look at this Arsenal team and there's not many that I set the bar very high. And I said that at the start of the season. Like, okay, Lacazette, Aubameyang, they're good. Torreira, he's good. And look, I'm a Granite fan, but I could even say that he hasn't been. Look, he's been glimpses of great, like same as Ozil. They've been glimpses of great, but he's also cost us, potentially a game here and there as well. So that shit like pisses me off. Mkhitaryan for me, he was very good there for a while, and then back end he just didn't exist, did he? Dennis Suarez come on loan. Like it's a mix of players. El Neni, well, he's not. He's one of them players that fucking don't even deserve to be there. Welbeck, poor bugger, he got injured. Wobie, he's been glimpses of good too. So it's so hard to say a flop of the season for me.
Yeah, it depends what way you're looking at it, because I know a lot of people would say Ozil, which is what I expected you to say. But for me, there has been times he's been very good, even great in certain games or just good in other games. Whereas you look at, say, Lichtsteiner, who I've chosen, and I can't think of a time he was good. But then the other side of that argument is, but Lichtsteiner's on X amount and Ozil's on 5 times more than that, or whatever it is. So it depends what you're looking at. But look, you'll know I don't concern myself with money because I'm not paying him it. So for me, I've chosen on who was good the least amount of times, basically. And that's the reason I didn't go for Mustafi. He obviously had some howlers, but he also had some games where we said, you know what, he was very good or he didn't play bad. So I've not based it on money, but I can understand the argument of people that do.
Yeah. And look, and I'll just I'm not going to throw the kid under the bus here, but Guendouzi, this bar was set to a standard where, I'll be honest, I thought, when we signed him, I thought maybe he might go out on loan, okay? He didn't, he stayed, and he started playing, it shocked us all. So all of a sudden, everybody was like, fuck, this kid's like a wonder kid. And I know he's probably, what do we buy him for 8 million? I know he's probably worth, I'd say maybe 20, 30 mil if somebody, was willing to pay it now. But did our bar get really high on Guendouzi and then all of a sudden we got disappointed on, at the back end of the season?
Yeah, for me, yeah. I mean, look, again, you'll know that I never set that bar high because I didn't think he was doing that great to begin with. He was okay, but as you'll know, that you had to end every sentence about Guendouzi with for a 19-year-old. He played well for a 19-year-old. But I think that's what happened. He did have 2 or 3 good games. And then suddenly, people still got their opinion, I think he could be one of the best in the world. At what? Again, I'm not throwing him on the bus. He's going to be a good player. But people just went crazy. And they still are, a lot of them. But again, we spoke about this loads of times where people are too scared to change their opinions because they don't want to be seen as wrong. So they'll just double down on something. Like they'll go, he's going to be world class. And obviously they had arguments. People saying, no, he's not. And then now he's been playing a little bit worse. They can't go, actually, you know what, maybe I jumped the gun, because they don't want to be seen as wrong. So they double down like, no, he's definitely going to be world class. And as you said, it was funny because he had no bar at the start of the season. If he'd have come and not played at all, no one would have said a thing.
No, we'd be going, what do we spend the money on him for? Who's this kid?
Yeah, 8 million, you took a gamble, maybe next year he'll be okay.
Yeah.
But so he went from having no bar at all to fucking potentially world class.
No, and then all got disappointed at the end of the season, but didn't really want to say we're disappointed. But yeah, it was very confusing. Guendouzi's season was one of them ups and down seasons. Come in, obviously the kid's got potential. Started off like a blinder. It was like, shit, we're not used to this, and then. Yeah. Look, I honestly have to go Ozil on my and look, I don't. It's not a hate thing. It's just the fact that, as you said, we pay him a shitload of money. I know I'm not paying it. He's the type of player that I think, well, it's not him who. He's got good negotiators, good agents, and whatnot. They got him a fucking great deal, right? But if you're an outsider looking at our team, you've got to think, shit, Ozil's the bloke who is a potential 6 points in a 6 points in a season, which is potentially a player that you type of look at to think, okay, well, there's Arsenal finishing 5 without an Ozil, or 5th without an Ozil, and maybe 4th or 3rd with an Ozil. So that's the only basis I go on. It's not a hate thing. It's just, I think, well, he's meant to be our star player.
I know on an individual level, he didn't have the season I would have hoped. I'm not saying, I don't put that as a flop. He just wasn't as good as I thought he'd be. I still maintain, and I've said this since day one of last season, we're a much better team, like since our first ever podcast. We're a much better team with him in it for me, regardless of what his numbers say. And I kind of think that showed it when we first started losing games in and around December, January, was when he dropped out of the team and Emery decided he was injured or didn't fit the system or whatever other bullshit excuse he made. And as I said, you look at Ozil's numbers this season, I think he got 2 or 3 assists, 5 or 6 goals. And I agree, not good enough. I would expect more from him. But I think sometimes you have to view the pitch as a whole because it is a team sport. It's not an individual sport. It's not tennis. Tennis, you can view someone on their numbers exclusively because they're playing on their own, you know what I mean? Whereas I think football, if Ozil had 0 assists, 0 goals, but made everyone else play better, that's surely better than someone who gets 10 goals but plays completely for themselves. And I'm not saying there is that player. I'm just giving an example.
Was it you or did we have a guest on or something? Somebody was saying that, to get the best out of Ozil, like Wenger obviously knew he had to have an Alexis Sanchez playing alongside him.
I think there was a stat that came up. I mean, I said my issue was always that you need players to take the attention off your better players. The problem is with Aubameyang is he kind of comes alive in the area. The defenders aren't really worried about him elsewhere. He drifts out wide, and the centre back, he doesn't really occupy the centre backs, which leaves more focus on other players. I think one of Lacazette's biggest strengths is he occupies defenders. His issue is he's not on the end of the attacks. I think Alexis helped Ozil and vice versa in that Alexis was a goal threat and occupied defenders. They're always worried about where he was, which gave Ozil space. And then if Ozil started sort of dominating the game because he had loads of space and time on the ball, then it'd be like, oh shit, we've got to stop him, which would then leave Alexis one-on-one with his fullback. And in general, Alexis was very good one-on-one. So it was a combination. I'm not saying they were good for each. Well, they were good for each other, but I'm not saying it's because one was better than the other. It's just if you take attention off someone, then naturally that's going to help that person, but may hinder your own game.
Somehow Emery's got to work out, look back and how to work out to get the best out of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is why for me a winger that can beat someone is key. Because if they're worried about someone roasting their fullback and getting in behind and zipping it across to, say, Aubameyang who's in the area, they may have to double up there, or the defensive midfielder may have to shift across, which then leaves, obviously, the 10 free. And if that is to be Ozil, if we play with a 10, we don't know how we're going to set up. But obviously, the more weapons you've got, the more the other team have to think about and the more the other team have to stop.
Okay, before we get onto some questions, who is your most consistent player of the season for Arsenal?
That's a hard one. I don't know.
Why you're thinking? Look, I'm going to go. Look, I was thinking myself, but I'm going to go Torreira. I think he was, for me, he was probably the most consistent. We knew what we were going to get out of him each week. I know there was a quiet.
He was pretty shit from February onwards.
Yeah, I was going to say there was a quiet period of him, but I think we still got consistency out of him, though, didn't we? I
don't know. For me, as I said, we've said this before, I don't know if it was tiredness or whatnot, but I think pretty much from February or so onwards, he's been half of the player we saw early on. This question is usually easy because you just say Monreal and no one argues, but even he this year wasn't. He had some rough games.
Yeah, he did.
Do you know what? Leno. I think he had one.
That's a good shout.
I think he had one poor game. He was terrible at Wolves away. But beyond that, I don't think there was really anything else.
I know we're going to get the question because people are going to say, well, how come you didn't think of Lacazette or Aubameyang?
Because they weren't consistent. Okay. I mean, look, take away the last day of the season. I think in 2019, away from home, they have something like 4 Premier League goals between them. Where's the consistency? I'm not saying they're not good.
I agree with you. I just, someone to last, that's all.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's more of a case for Lacazette to win that one than Aubameyang, for me. But I wouldn't class him as consistent.
Probably, had Rob Holding not get injured, he might be there because he was pretty consistent at the start. Mustafi, he was consistently fucked. Kashani, I'm thinking.
Koscielny, I actually was thinking about him, but he started the season in December because of injury, and then he was shit for 3 weeks. And if you said in 2019, Koscielny would be my answer.
Yeah.
But when you've missed 3 months of the season, and your first month or so you're pretty shit. Socrates is another one you could put in there as consistent.
Yeah. Did you say, was that this season that you said you didn't want to see Koscielny back in a Arsenal shirt? That was this season, wasn't it? Yeah. So obviously before he got injured, he wasn't playing very well because they said that the injury was hampering him, his Achilles. And then he came back and he was shit for the first 2 or 3 games. And I thought, well, he's finished. He's apparently recovered from his injury, and he's still the same old, like what we saw when he was injured. But by all accounts, and looking at it now, it looks like they just brought him back too early, and he wasn't recovered yet. And since he's been sort of 7, 8 out of 10 every week, and as I said, one of our more consistent players. But at that time, I didn't say it to be controversial. I said it because what I was seeing was the same shit we'd seen for the last year. Kolasinac, your thought on his season? Because, when we signed him, he was, left back of the year. Has he brought that form to Arsenal?
No. This season has been better for him than last. Look, we've had a huge focus on attacking down that side of the pitch. His weaknesses have been obvious since day one. And my worry is that he hasn't worked on these weaknesses. He's probably got better at his strengths, but you're only as strong as your weakest link. So for me, I would prefer him to stay at the level that he was with his strengths, so his attacking instinct, and work on the other stuff. But it doesn't look like he's done that. So we've still got that he's not fit enough. He still can't really defend. He doesn't get back. He gets in very good positions and probably doesn't shoot enough. And for me, I would prefer him to work on them things rather than just get better at what you're already good at.
What do you think? Do you think he just is a big unit or what? He can't get back enough?
I don't know. They said he don't really eat much and he doesn't go to the gym. So I don't know what it is. But look, fitness can be worked on, and it obviously hasn't. For whatever reason.
Okay, we'll get into some questions. MAA Gunner, well, he's hit us with one straight up. Your team of the season. Now, you might be talking, obviously, the Premier League.
Yeah, I assume he is. Fuck me, this is long.
This is hard. Yeah, okay. Fuck. I'm trying to think.
Personally,
to help you out.
just to rattle through it quickly. Personally, I would go Ederson, Wan-Bissaka, Van Dijk, Laporte, Robertson.
I'd go Alisson in goal. That'd be more different there.
Well, your flop of the season.
I have to. What do I do? Yeah. Who are you playing your mids? You got to go Salah on the wing. You got to throw Mane in there too, haven't you?
See, this is where the attackers are actually difficult, because you think if you're playing one central striker, it has to be Aubameyang because he's outscored all other central strikers.
Yep.
Then you say Salah, Mane wide because they're the top scorers as well. But I have to put Bernardo in there because he's been unbelievable. And Sterling deserves a place as well. For me, there's like 5 spots there. And if I name them as like sort of midfielders, you just get a team that looks ridiculous. That's what makes it difficult. Hazard's had another very good year as well. But then now that takes up the whole team and you've got no midfielders.
What about Richarlison?
Nah, he wouldn't be anywhere near. I'm not saying he's had a bad year, but he's not been standout.
Any from Wolves? They've had a good season, Wolves.
Yeah, they have had a good season, but
no real standout. It's more like a team effort, isn't it?
Well, no, like say Jimenez has done really well, but He's got like what 10 goals. He's not. No. Do you know what it is? A lot of their players, maybe aside from Ruben Neves, no one else is going to be looking at. They've done very well, but it's just sort of team you go, oh yeah, I'm not going to look to sign any of them.
Yeah.
Aside from probably Ruben Neves. Whereas you say you get a Leicester who've done worse than Wolves, but you look at their players and you go, oh, you'd have him.
Yeah.
He could fit in at Liverpool, for example, or he could fit in here. Whereas with Wolves, you kind of got like Connor Cody maybe fitting somewhere, Matt Doherty even, maybe, who knows. It's not like a definite. It's not like where you go Chilwell. Chilwell could go here, fact. Like everyone would take him. With the Wolves ones, they're not as clean cut.
Nah, it's a funny team, that Wolves team. I agree with you. I like Ruben Neves. So. But does he make my? He doesn't make my team this season. Any Tottenham players there? They did make Champions League.
No.
Fuck them.
Let's be honest. They haven't had a great. They've got the main Champions League final. You kind of have to congratulate them on it. But they haven't had a great year. I mean, Son is the only one that's in with an argument for me, and he's not had the season that Mane, Sterling, Silva, or Salah have had. He's had a good year. I'm not. You can't. You'd be an idiot to look at them and say Son's not been good. Like, as much as I don't like them, you have to, even if you don't like someone or something, you still have to be able to recognise when they've done something well. And Son has had a good year.
Yeah.
But not as good as Salah, Silva, Sterling or Mane.
You know what threw me, like, and you're talking about their season just quickly. Out of the top 4, they've actually lost 13 games and drew 2.
Yeah, they only drew against us and then on the last day of the season when it didn't matter.
But to lose 13 games and fucking arsey cunt still to get that 4th spot.
Yeah.
I'd have to get, I don't know how many teams would fucking get that arsey.
But you look, the points adds up to the points over the season. You could lose. You could lose 15 games and win the other 23, and you would have got it as well.
Yeah. Okay, so that's type of our team. Is a hard one. It is a hard one. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Golden Boot. Who needs to change his name to Joint Golden Boot? Doesn't this Baku thing just prove the UEFA is corrupt? If City win the treble, are they the best ever PL, better than our own 2004, 2002, 1998 sides? And then he said, is Chelsea best chance to beat us, Hazard only?
I mean, look, there's a few different questions there. I think if anyone didn't already know UEFA corrupt, then they've just been involved in the wrong sport. I mean, I'm pretty sure a few of their staff, Platini, have been done for corruption. So there's no sort of argument needed there. In terms of is City the best side ever? I don't think as in a one-off. I think the Invincibles will probably never be beaten. United had some strong teams. Chelsea had some very strong teams. But no one has been this sort of dominant back-to-back. Like, I know United won, I think, 3 titles back-to-back was their most. But they weren't getting sort of 100 points, 98 points. So I think in terms of longevity, I think City are probably the best Premier League team, like over 2 years. If the question was over 2 years, who's the best Premier League team, my answer would be City. Over 1, for me, it's the Invincibles.
Interesting.
Because you can't compare the Invincibles with what City have done, because it was over 2 years. So the Invincibles a year later didn't do anything. They didn't win the league. You know what I mean?
But how many games did we draw that season? And I seriously, I don't want to take anything away from the Invincibles. Fucking great team.
12.
But I'm just looking
12,
at, yeah.
Yeah, but we drew 12, but we stopped. I think we won the title with 5 games to go. So we stopped. And also, like, what people don't factor in is like, oh yeah, but City got 98 points, you got 86, I think it was. Yeah, but City got 2 wins over us this season. If they wouldn't, you know what I mean? You've got to take 4 points off because that's 2 wins. A minimum, the best they could have got is 2 draws.
Mm.
And then, as I said, so you take 4 points off. That's now 94. There's now an 8 points difference, and we stopped with 5 games to go.
Mm.
It's points tally. You can't argue with what City have done. But as I said, for me, if you're looking at one season, the Invincibles will never be beat, and it shows because no one else will ever do it again.
You don't reckon?
No. Well, Liverpool lost 1 and didn't win the fucking league.
Yeah, true. That's right. They only lost 1 fucking game, didn't they?
Yeah, they lost to City away in January.
Yeah, fucking they'd be spewing. Is Chelsea best chance to beat us Hazard only?
For me, no. Look, Hazard is exceptional, and I've said for a long time, for me, he's the best player in the league. But they're not a one-man team. They have a very good individual, but they also have some very other good players. So it's not Hazard only. But my fear is, as I said earlier, if Hazard turns up and has a 10 out of 10, you're going to have a long old task in trying to beat them.
Let's just hope he doesn't. Let's hope his mind's at Real Madrid already.
That's what you got to hope for.
Fucking Schwinn tells this. Look, he pops up in the questions. Taking a break from you boys till the time of Game of Thrones finishes with his little dumbass angel fucking head. Fuck me.
Fucking shit anyway.
You can't be bothered coming for a chat for a fucking hour and a half, but you can watch that shit. MAA Gunner says...
How else is he going to wank over dragons?
Yeah, true. MAA Gunner is, we've known that for 5 months now. Trying to go down a bit. Down. Just Hakon's fucking ass the shitloads. Hakon, I was actually scared as fuck of this transfer window. I don't feel like the club is up to support our coach to sign players we need. The club probably thinks that we are so close to the top 4 this season and was just unlucky, and that maybe we'll do it again next season. I actually read an article, and you correct me if I'm wrong here. If we win, if we win the final, obviously we're in Champions League. And I think the article said we're looking at about 98 million, but that might have been dollars in me, so that type of doubles for the pound. Yeah, because it was an Australian article. It was, so it was 98 million if we win, and they're working out, obviously TV deals and what we've got already, and different things on getting to the final. Do you know much about that? The breakdown of it all?
Well, I know Ornstein done a transfer sort of review, or not prediction, but what he knows or thinks the teams have to spend and what sort of business they're going to be doing. And he said Arsenal's budget is 40 million without Champions League and closer to 100 if we get it. For me, it's guesswork. And this is not me coming out saying Ornstein's wrong, blah, blah, blah. But for me, he's just put a number out there. I think it will be 100 sort of regardless. I don't think it may be more if we get Champions League, but I think minimum we'll spend is 100 even if we're not in the Champions League. In terms of breakdown, we're rumoured to be getting 55 to 60 million from Adidas. We get 10 million from Visit Rwanda. Obviously, the Premier League TV deal was as big as it's ever been. The Emirates new deal kicks in this year, which I think is 30 million a year. I can't remember exactly. So the money's coming in, but then obviously you also have to factor what's going out on wages and all the other running costs of running a football club. But I can't see us only spending 40 million regardless of what competition we're in. He also did say plus sales, and then
yeah,
so
plus
40 million
sales was another one too.
But then also I saw earlier someone said that they'd watched the whole interview, and he didn't actually say that. That's just what the headlines from the interview have said. One sec, let me find it. Because someone said they watched the whole interview, and
amazing what happens when you actually watch the whole interview.
Well, I've got a friend who's a Tottenham fan, and he always watches the whole manager press conference because he said they're just going to pick a line from there, and give you the most sensationalist thing from the press conference, but that's not necessarily what was actually said.
What are you looking at?
So apparently in the whole press conference, Ornstein said it's going to be 40 million and the Adidas deal, which, as I said, is 55 or 60. So that brings you up to 100. But the headline, I don't know because I've not seen it. That's just what someone's told me. But the headline was just Arsenal have 40 million to spend.
Well, we'll see what happens, I suppose. It's only around the corner. MAA Gunner, what do you think would have happened if Messi was, I don't know what it says, Armanen, and Barcelona had reached the Europa League final?
Oh, Armenian.
Armenian, sorry, yeah. Now I got it when I read the rest of the question.
He would have been allowed to play?
Probably.
The question. Look, Armenia are going to. Azerbaijan are going to let Mkhitaryan in. They're going to grant him a visa. What's worrying is they've actually rejected a load of fans, which they may say it's for their own safety, but I can't see how they can have one rule for one, e.g. Mickey, and then a different rule for the others. The question is, will he? They will grant him a visa. Will he choose to come due to not feeling safe? Is a different matter. And it would be the same thing if Messi was Armenian. They would grant the visa, and I'm sure they'd put all the security in place, arrangements in place that need to be there. But it's going to come down to what a decision between the club and Mkhitaryan, as the same way it would between Messi and Barcelona.
Hakon Larsson is a centre-back at Barcelona that everybody's talking about. And that's because obviously Barcelona look like signing another player from Ajax. Thoughts? Do you think any of that will happen?
I think Titi will go somewhere, who I assume he's talking about.
Yep.
It's a tough one because I like him. His injury record of recent has been very, very bad.
Actually, that's what Hakon says, a lot of injury problems.
Yeah, it's one of them that if you get him and he stays fit, you've got him for probably half. Because I think he'll go for around 40 million, 35, 40 million. And if you get him and he stays fit, that's half of what he should be worth. He's a World Cup winner. He's only 25. He's never really been bad in terms of performance. But can Arsenal risk spending 40 million on someone they don't know if they're going to get 20 games out of?
I think you've got it.
If I was a Chelsea without a transfer ban, I'd be saying it's a no-brainer, take him, because money has not really ever been an object. Same with City.
But Arsenal,
I don't know. I don't know if they'll do it. And as I said, it's annoying because it's not a question of the player. It's not his ability. It's whether his knee's going to work.
Well, a lot of this goes on if Barcelona are going to sign a centre-back as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, as I said, I think I think Barcelona will have one available. Interestingly, De Ligt was pictured in Barcelona last night.
Oh, okay.
Look, he could be on holiday.
Yeah.
But he was in Barcelona.
Where are we? Hakon Larsson. Why the fuck is it talk about giving Guendouzi a new contract already and Flinky and his wages? He has many years left. This is how we fuck up contracts and finances within the club. Why just don't wait until he has 2 years left?
No, this is one of them ones. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. If you then get to 2 years left and he's refusing to sign, and then you could potentially be losing a player for nothing or very little of what he's worth, and everyone moans about that as well. This whole story depends on if you believe the articles, because the articles are saying we're going to double his wages to sort of, I think, 80 grand a week. He's not worth 80 grand a week at the moment. And that's where a lot of sort of anger is coming from. But that's dependent on two things. One, that he's actually on 40 grand a week already, which I don't think he is. I don't think he's on anywhere near that. And the other is that we are actually going to double it. My thinking he's on more 20 to 25, and they may double it to 50, maybe 60, or he may be on 30 and they're doubling it to 60. And do you know what? That's fair money for him. Around 60 grand a week is 50 to 60, no problem with that. Obviously, it depends on the length of the extension as well.
Yeah, I've got no problem with it at all. I
do. To be honest, I do at 80.
Yeah, right. I don't
because as I've always said, it's not my money. I don't really care.
Yeah.
But I don't think he is worth an 80 grand a week contract at the moment.
Yeah, but I look at it like the other side though. Like, what have you got to lose? You got everything to gain by signing.
Wages have always been our issue.
So you're thinking it's going to put our wages to a new. Yeah.
Well, it's not. No, it's not going to help, is it?
Wage bill. Mm.
And look at people like. And I'm not comparing them, but
if you get Janko off and things,
off the wage bill.
Yeah, get Janko off for fucking. Yeah.
No, but
so you're worried that he's going to be like he's going to be another Janko in 5 years, maybe.
I'm not. That's not my worry, but it could happen.
Yeah, could.
And then you're stuck with someone that won't leave because they're never going to get that money elsewhere, potentially. Look, he could go on to be a world beater, and 80 grand a week looks cheap, but at the moment, I would not be happy with offering him that. Look, if it was my decision, I wouldn't be giving him that. That's the only way I can put it.
Torreira had a good season, a few dips, but overall okay. I'm afraid that if we don't have a clear system and clear roles, he will not improve. You can't just put him all alone in the middle and hope he tackles everything. No players can do that. Look, I'm just going to say, I think he was, I've said to Tony before, I watch a lot of Italy football, and he wasn't one that stuck out to me. I didn't think, oh shit, he's a player that I take every day at Arsenal. He does what he does. He's good at what he does, and I just don't put so many expectations on him. I think I see what he's saying with the clear system, and but how much more will he improve? I don't know.
It's difficult in that role because it's there's sort of like two brackets, good and bad. Like that's pretty much it. You don't get. You know what I mean? In terms of holding midfielders, it's sort of like, oh yeah, you're good, you can do your job, or not.
He just does a job. That's what I mean. Like he's not going to be breaking the world record and fucking stuff. Like he's there. He does his job, and if he has a bad game, well, people will go. He'll have a bad game, and he'll drop down, but then people will look and go, well, who was he partnered with? Oh shit, he's partnered with Granit, or he's partnered with whoever it is. El Neni or whatnot, and was it because of El Neni he was partnered with? Well, was it because of his individual performance? So it's just a shit position, isn't it, to be in the judge, really?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's probably our best ever was Gilberto Silva, and he was one of them. He was just good. No one at the time, especially when he's world class, he's worth 100 million. Obviously, that wasn't a thing at the time, but whatever the big money was at the time, 50 million maybe. No one ever said that. I think in that role, you're kind of just like good or bad.
Yeah, that's right. I agree. Vish says, in a FIFA fantasy world, would you rather spend $70 million acquiring Zaha, or would you rather tempt Sané or Mahrez to the club?
I mean, you ain't getting either of them two. I am a huge Mahrez fan, but I think for what we need at the moment, or what I want from us, I would prefer Zaha. Even though I think Mahrez is a better player, as I said, I want someone that runs at people and beats them. And Mahrez is more in a tight space. He's very choppy. He drags the ball. His goal against Brighton was a joke, but again, it was a little chop inside. And as much as I really like Riyad Mahrez, I'd have him, but that's not what we want. Sané, depends what Sané you're going to get. To be honest, I've been disappointed with him this season. Last season, I thought he was exceptional. And you've got to remember, he didn't go to the World Cup, and everyone thought, he's had the whole summer to improve. He's only, 21? He's got a whole summer. He's got a lot of rest. He was going to be amazing this season.
That was a big thing for him too.
Get in the team.
That was a big thing too, wasn't it? Big headline. World Cup.
But if you're asking the Sané of last season, then yeah, of course you'd want him. So it's difficult.
I don't know if Fish is coming in on this because I have seen a couple of little articles as well, and I don't know if you've seen them or not. So there was, and this could be what you were talking about with your mate who watches the whole manager press conference. But apparently Pep is willing to cash in on Sane.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I don't know whether that was a headline out of something, but
yeah.
And Mahrez hasn't really been getting the starts that he probably deserves. So is there an argument to say that he's happy there and different things as well? So I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if they sell one of the two.
Me either. Who would you take either? Sane or Mahrez?
Again, Sane's more what we need, but again, what Sane are you getting? The Sane of this season is not someone many teams would want, but that's not what they're going to buy. They're going to buy what they saw of the Sane before and the fact that he's 21, 22 years old.
So in them two players also, you've decided to not worry about the 70 million for Zaha? Forgot about that. That was the other bit of his question. The 70 million.
If I could have anyone, the whole package considered, it would be Sane, because he's got a really high ceiling. He's very young. He's got a huge sell-on fee if you can get him to start playing. So it's all there. As much as I like Mahrez, I'd have Zaha over him for what we need. But if you're asking me who is a better player, I would tell you Riyad Mahrez every time.
Okay. MAA Gunner, could you explain the Man City ban situation?
If it happens, which it won't, it's meant to be. So UEFA are looking into it due to financial fair play irregularities. I've not read the whole case, but I'm assuming it's them sponsoring themselves, which is what's being looked at. The strongest punishment, because it's a UEFA thing, they can't punish them in the Premier League because it's not under their jurisdiction. So the strongest punishment they could do is something to do with Europe. And the strongest possible punishment is exclude them from the Champions League for a year. If that's the case, and it seems like that's what UEFA is pushing for, City will appeal. It will go through multiple courts and take fucking ages. And while it does, they can't ban them, because then if they get found innocent in 2 years' time, UEFA will be sued to high heaven, and they can't afford for that to happen. So if UEFA decide we're going to ban them, City will appeal it and it'll be suspended. If for some fucking miraculous reason they're banned and accept it and it's done in time for next season, which I think would need to be done for July 1st, then the rule as it stands is it goes to the next place team in that country, which would be us. What pot we would go in, I haven't got a clue, because again, the way it works at the moment is the champion goes in pot 1 and then it goes on European coefficient. Because England wouldn't have a champion, I don't have a fucking clue who would go where. I don't know if that would then promote Liverpool to pot 1 as they're the top ranked English team that have been put in. I don't know how it would work, but I think there's less than 1% chance it happens.
Okay. Vish says, who would be your choices to fill the void in our gaping defence? With our tight budget, we certainly need another left back and a centre back, plus competition for Bellerin, so that Maitland-Niles can play in the midfield.
He's going to keep, even if Maitland-Niles plays in midfield, he's still going to be there in mind as a second choice right back or right wing back. So that position's not going to be changed. Left back, again, I think he'll carry on with what he's got. He'll see between Kolasinac and Monreal, he'll think that they can do the year. So I can't see anything changing there. We've been linked to so many centre-backs. Most recently, there's a guy, the Argentinian playing in Brazil, Kahneman or something, for 28-year-old for like 12 million. I know absolutely nothing about him, and I doubt many people do, although they'll tell you his life story. We've been linked with him. Obviously, we've just been linked with people all over the shop. A load of people from Spain. I don't know what he's going to do. I think we will sign a centre-back. Don't ask me who. And look, I think there is a real chance of him, TE. I don't know if they'll shit themselves there.
MAA Gunner, how will the Champions League... you just answered that. He's saying about the City thing. How would the pots work with 3 English clubs in pot 1? I think that's it.
Well, that's to be fair, because the way they've done the pots, this isn't anything to do with the City thing. I think the way they've done the pots now, I think they've changed it. I'm not 100%. It's the 6 major league winners, and then the Europa League winner, and the
I see what he's saying. Yeah, because there's the 2 Champions League final and the Europa League. So yeah, so how does it work?
So in theory, it could be us, Liverpool, and City. I'm not entertaining the idea of Tottenham winning it. It would make no difference because you're country protected. All it means is Tottenham, if they end up being the runners-up, would probably go into pot 2, the same as Liverpool would. And Chelsea are going to be in pot 2, unless they win it. Then obviously they'll go into pot 1. But because you're country protected anyway, it actually doesn't make any difference.
Okay. So it's just the same. Isn't it strange that for Allegri to leave after Ramsey gets signed on a pre-contract? MWA Gunner, look, to be honest, I think the writing was on the door for Allegri. I don't even know if he'll go. This was asked. He asked this 15 hours ago, so I haven't really kept on what's happening.
He's gone. He's already gone.
He's gone, has he? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
He got sacked.
Yeah, like 3 days ago.
Shit, there you go. That happened when I was away. Okay, so fuck, he's been sacked.
No, he quit.
He quit, did he? Yeah. Look, the writing was on the wall. As soon as they bowed out of Champions League, I thought, well, he's going to go. Yeah. It was all based on Champions League. That squad, he had to buy Ronaldo. He bought Ronaldo. His goal for the season was to win the Serie A and win Champions League or make it to the final. And he failed. Italian Cup, Napoli won that as well, so he even failed that. So for him, for Juve, it was a disappointing season. As silly as that sounds, because if Arsenal won just the league, I'd be happy, you know. But that's
you got to look at it. Just spent whatever it was on Ronaldo and in a sense gone backwards.
Yeah,
which is that's what they're thinking. In terms of the actual question about Ramsey, it's very similar to the model English clubs are now adapting. It's not the manager that signs the players, so it won't. I've seen a few people say this online, like, "Oh, how is Ramsey going to feel when Allegri would have been a huge reason why he's gone there?" I mean, a bigger reason why he's gone there is £400,000 a week, and I'll be honest, I think the chance to play with Ronaldo will have been a bigger factor than the chance to play under Allegri. That's what I think, and I don't know.
They haven't appointed a manager yet.
No,
it'll be Conte.
I think Conte is. It's weird because Conte was very, very close to Inter by all accounts, and now suddenly because he only left Juventus to take the Italy job, didn't he? It wasn't like he'd won the league a million times.
Yeah,
he got to Champions League.
He was just bored and went with Italy, and that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's now rumours that Conte is within a shout. So no, they've not named anyone, but we don't know who's.
I'd imagine it'll be him unless he goes, because Chelsea was a good little challenge for him. And before anyone...
Well, he wanted to get out of international football as well, didn't he?
Yeah. And before anyone says, can we sign Allegri? No, I don't. No. Fuck, mate. I don't want him. Vish, what are your thoughts on moving Iwobi from wide left forward position to a deeper left midfield position? His output for a forward is dismal, but he could use his strengths and hold up play to drive the team further up the field as a midfielder playing in half spaces.
He's not quick enough. He's not fit enough. He's not intelligent enough, and he doesn't pass the ball well enough. I don't know if it's because he's come from our youth system, but people are always so busy trying to find a way that Iwobi can play. We've just got to get to a point where you go, you know what, he's definitely not good enough to start. And he's maybe not even good enough to be in the squad. That's an argument. But to start, there's no position on the pitch I want to see Iwobi starting for us.
Yeah, look, he's almost one of the players that I think you could probably get, close to your 20 argument for maybe 30 this year, next year, depending on how he goes next season, and let him go.
I would.
I would. Did you say you wouldn't?
I would.
Yeah, I would too. Hack on Larson, sack Emery and bring in Allegri. I knew that'd fucking happen. Just do it. What do you guys think? Absolutely not. No way.
I think that was tweeted like 2 minutes after they announced Allegri was leaving.
Okay. Nah. He just look. People are going to go, why don't I like Allegri? For me, he changes things too much. Look, I know I know Emery tinkers around a little bit, but Allegri, he changes just way too much too quick. And this Arsenal team I don't think would suit an Allegri. He's not a manager who will come in and build our team. He's a manager that'll come in and rearrange everything to try and find the win, which scares me. I think to myself, no.
You just reminded me there. Emery now holds the record for the most changes in the Premier League before the second half kicks off in a season.
Yeah, right.
So saying that someone else changes it is engaging. I think it's 44.
Well, he'd do exactly the same.
Yeah. I was surprised when I saw the number. I might be wrong, but I think it was 44, which obviously you play 38 games. So that means in every game he's made, like on average, he's made a sub before half time and then 6 more as well, which is crazy.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. Of course, some of them are through injury. I mean, the stat came about because Mavropanos got injured against Burnley and went off at half time. But then you got Holding who got injured and who in the first half and whatnot. But yeah, that's crazy. 44 and 38.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But Allegri wouldn't do you much better. Like, everyone thinks that Allegri's this great fucking manager, but no. Look, and I've got some Juventus fans and best mates of mine, and they even tell me that they wanted him gone. And I said to him, really? He said, yeah, mate. They call him a fraud. They said he just does some stupid stuff. Yeah. Anyway, you like Allegri?
This is probably more a reflection of my views on Emery that I would take him.
Yeah, okay. Because you rate him over Emery.
Yeah, but in terms of, for me, that's not really a high bar.
Yeah, very true.
I would have Conte. I've said this a million times.
Mate, give me Conte all day, every day. Absolutely.
This is not, just to point out before people start crying, this is not me pointing out saying I think Emery should be sacked and we should get these guys. I'm just saying if it was to come down to it, I would prefer Conte.
No, I agree. I like Conte. He would actually probably teach our defenders how to defend. Just this Arsenal team, at the moment, like, there's even a shout for Mourinho for me. And I'm not a big Mourinho fan, but
I'm blinded by hatred.
Yeah, I probably am too, to be honest. But what I'm getting at is his teams don't leak many goals.
Yeah, and I can see where you're coming from. I just don't think, similar to what happened in the end at Man United, the fans wouldn't forget losing the dressing room, which he would definitely do because he's done it everywhere else. The fans wouldn't get behind him. And our fans are shit at the best at times.
Yeah. Should we replace Steve Ball this summer?
This question must have come in about a week ago because I remember seeing it. Look, it's difficult. We don't know what he does. And from the outside, we see that as a criticism. But we don't see what a lot of people do, and we're not calling for their heads. So he may be excellent at his job. We just don't know what the fuck his job is. So it's not a decision
why should we though? Why should we know what his job is?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not a decision that Arsenal Twitter should be making. Like, yeah, we see him do nothing, but maybe he has a training field only job. They say, do you know what I mean? It could be that you do all these training ground exercises, and on a match day, look, yeah, you're part of the staff, so we're going to give you, you're going to sit on the bench with us, but that's not your job. It's just you're part of the staff.
Yeah.
And then he might be excellent on the training ground. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying we don't know. So it's not something that we can sit here and say. It's something that's internal.
Where are all the people that said getting players off the wage bill would give us a lot of money to spend in the summer? The wage bill is this year's transfer war chest. Fans never seem to learn. Unless we sell, we don't have money to spend, says Original Brads.
Yeah, so this came in just after the Ornstein saying Arsenal have only got 40 million. Brads, I think you still listen. I bet you 50 quid we spend more than 40 million this year. It's a charity.
$50 to charity. He's in Australia, I think.
Oh, is he?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Pretty sure it is. Yeah, okay, $50. You're on.
He has to accept it, obviously.
Oh, yeah, you got to accept it, Brads.
Which is I'm not spending his money for.
I
said, I think, again, I can never blame anyone for being reactionary because we all are. But I'm pretty sure this question came in. It's sort of like headline, Ornstein says we only have 40 million. And then this question came in saying, obviously, what it says. And as I say, I'll be stunned if we don't spend more than that.
Okay, thoughts on VAR being in the final?
It's not been bad in the Champions League, and it's going to be under the same regulations the Champions League has. So, no issue. If it helps get things right, then you can't argue. Maybe the only thing I can think of that I might be just misthinking, but the only thing I can think of that it's really got wrong in the Champions League is Llorente's handball, and even then, that's still arguable that it might not have been handball. I think it was against Man City. But there will be people argue that it wasn't. But apart from that, I can't think of too many times where you've gone, fuck me, VAR's fucked that up.
I'm sure I did. Didn't they fuck Roma up, cunts? Twice?
No, that was you being a bit of Roma fan. It was definitely a penalty.
I'm sure they fucked us up twice.
I got rugby tackled at the back post. He was fucking VAR. But that was just because the ref didn't give it. It was still a foul. Had there been no VAR, it wouldn't have been a penalty. But it was a penalty. Sure. And look, people moan about the Man United handball, but that's Europe. That's nothing wrong with VAR. In Europe, they pretty much play if the ball touches your hand, it's handball. So I can't blame VAR for that.
I'm trying to think if there was any others. Ajax, they didn't get ripped off, did they? No.
City got a penalty against Tottenham for the same thing, where the ball hit his hand and. Had it been an English ref looking at the VAR, he wouldn't have given it. But in Europe, the ball hits your hand, it's handball.
No, they probably haven't done too bad, to be honest with it. I can't look. I was blown up not know tomorrow over the fucking Roma thing, but yeah. Would you rather keep Chambers or who's that bloke? Bielik.
Christian Bielik.
Bielik.
I don't understand where all this Bielik hype is coming from. He really isn't that good. He is not. I don't think he'll ever be Premier League level. He's had a average season in League One, and literally average.
I was going to say, the fuck is he?
Yeah, we signed him when he was 17, and he's been out on loan here, there, and everywhere, and never really done anything. But for some reason, there's a whole section of Arsenal fans that are convinced he's the new Messiah. If I said to someone, we're looking to sign a 21-year-old from Charlton who has had a 6 out of 10 year in League One, people would go, nah, what you on about? But because he's on loan from Arsenal, everyone suddenly is now a first-team option. Not for me. I don't think he'll ever be an Arsenal player.
Well, Vignac says sell Chambers for 25 mil minimum, maybe. I love how he fucking contradicts it. Wouldn't mind if he stayed, especially with Mustafi leaving and cost pushing on. Excellent loan spells for both. Don't know how long new CB signing will take to settle. Can slot in at right back, base and midfield. And he's talking about this Bielik.
No, he's talking about Chambers.
Is he? Chambers. Oh, yeah, sorry, Chambers. No, he's saying sell Chambers for 25 mil.
Oh.
He's answered Shree's question about this Bielik kid. Anyway.
Bielik's not good. Like,
I don't
you know
watch
what? I was
League
actually
One,
watching
so I got
them
no
last
idea.
night. I was watching them last night in the playoffs, and he scored a header after literally 2 minutes. And my overriding feeling as he scored was, oh, here we go. Because I know what Twitter was going to be like. He then had not a shocker, but he wasn't good. Like, you wouldn't class it as good. He was a 6 at most out of 10. But, he scored, so people are going to go, oh, here we go. Just bullshit.
Like, you're talking like, what do you got? Championship, League One, is that what it is? And then League Two?
Yeah.
So to jump up to the Premier League is a big jump up, isn't it?
Yeah, as I said, had he not already been on our books and it was someone that we'd been linked with, people would be crying about it.
Yeah, that'd be... Yeah,
like, honestly, I watch more of Luton because my friend plays for them, and Luton won the league. And there's players there that are the same age or younger than Bielik who are better. But if I said I think we should go out and sign this player, people would lose their heads.
It's like with these fucking weird leagues. Some cunt will say, "Oh, fucking, has anybody seen this?" Yeah, there's one that Brazilian superstar fucking kid, 17-year-old. Oh, fuck, well, I've watched this cunt for fucking. I'm like, who the fuck is this kid? Never heard of him, never seen him, but yet you just want to sign him for Arsenal. Like, somebody out there must be. What do you just all watch that fucking some weird fucking league in some third world country? Nothing against nothing against it, but I just.
It looks like that we're going to sign that Martinelli, that Brazilian kid who I think is 17 and playing in like not a local league, but so Brazil, their system is a bit weird, but he's played most of his games in the because Brazil's so big, they have an overall league, but then they also have like city leagues. So because there's so many teams in each city and the other cities are so far away. So there's this 17-year-old kid who it looks like we're going to sign, who has been playing in just like the city league. And by all accounts, done quite well. But people are going on about how much they've seen of him and how he's ready to start. Fuck off. Like, he might be ready to start. I don't know. I've not seen a second of him. But these people are going, oh, yeah, watch him all the time. He could come and start on the left wing for us. Based on what? Like 2 minutes on YouTube.
Vish says, what are your thoughts on Atletico Madrid coming after Lacazette? Would you take 100 million plus for him?
Yes.
I would too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Then he says, we could buy Pepe, Ryan Fraser, David Neres with that money and to give Aubameyang some proper service.
And yes, I would take 100 million for him. And before people say, oh, this is me not liking Lacazette, blah, 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 change that exact question, but put Aubameyang's name for Lacazette, and my answer would still be yes.
Well, you have to.
Yeah. Look, it's not going to happen. No. But not even a question. I don't have to think about that. That's like a yes. Next question. Like,
Vish says, personally, I'd take the money and go to Ajax and throw the money on the table and ask for buy Donny and other foreign players. Yeah. That is a good team. But 100 million, you're going to need more money, Vish. They're not silly. Okay, I think we've just about done, mate. We've got a couple MWA.
Simon is brilliant because the FA Cup final is about to kick off.
Yeah, we've been going for an hour and a half. I think that'll wrap us up. Look, we're going to be back after...
Oh, wow, sorry. Look, this is boring, but Aguero's not started.
For the FA Cup final?
Yeah.
Who are you on there? You think Watford will do it?
No. I think City will win. Okay. City, innit? You can't back against City. Yeah, against anyone.
I know, but like to think Watford will do it.
No, it's on them. You say yes, and if they do it, you say you're a genius. If they lose, you go, of course they're going to lose.
Yeah, I know.
The shot to nothing.
You can't win, yeah, no. Okay, we're going to be back after the final. We don't really need to preview anything there, so we'll come back.
I can't do till 3 days after.
That's right. We'll come back a couple of days after when you're back in the country. Safe travels there, mate, and hopefully you enjoy that.
I hope so. Hope we all enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, yeah. So, and Schwinn, we have no idea where that bloke is, so we don't know if he'll be back. Who fucking knows? But anyway, we'll be back, and we'll just do some pop-ups podcasts over the transfer window if there's some news breaking, and we're a bit bored. We'll pop in with some transfer news and things like that, and keep us all entertained. And yeah, we'll battle on.
Yeah, sounds good.
Righto, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for downloading, and you've been listening to the Cockhand Talk and Arsenal podcast, and I'm your host Tez, and you've been listening to Tony and Tez. See yous.